Welcome to Sales and Leadership Mastery 1. You know, I had a gentleman who came up to me and he said, Kaya, can you help me? And I said, sure, absolutely. What do you need? He said, I'm really struggling with my sales, and my productivity is down, and I'm struggling and I'm not making any money. So what I did, I asked him, I said, well, what happens when you're selling? And he says, well, what do you mean? I said, so what do you have to do? You have to door knock? Do you have to pick up the phone? What specifically do you have to do? He says, well, it involves a lot of phone prospecting. And in some cases, it involves some door-to-door. And some of us that are in real estate or in financial services, you know that a lot of it has to do with reaching new people, reaching potential customers and clients. So I started to break down his psychology of the block that he was having. I asked him, so what goes on in your brain before you make sales calls? I also asked him, I said, how many sales calls did you make yesterday? He said, 1. I said, how many sales calls did you make the day before? He said, 0. I said, well, okay, how many sales calls did you make in the last week? He said, I think maybe 2 or 3. Not a very good result, right? Anybody that's going to make that few sales calls is really unlikely to create any success. So I start going into his mindset, and I said, okay, so the phone is right there, you're going to pick up the phone. What goes on in your brain? He says, I don't know, I just feel bad. I just don't feel like I want to do it. I said, okay, we don't just feel bad without any trigger. I said, what goes on in your brain before you pick up the phone? I said, do you see something? Do you hear something? He said, actually, you know what? I see people that don't want to talk to me. I said, wait a minute. So you see people that don't want to talk to you? He says, yeah. I said, are they people that you know? He said, no. So I asked him, so you're seeing imaginary people I'm getting that don't want to talk to you? He says, yeah. I said, fascinating. You're seeing imaginary people on the other end of the phone that don't want to talk to you. He says, yeah. I said, then what happens? He said, well, then I hear them telling me I'm bothering them, or no thank you, or I'm not interested, and rushing me off the phone. I said, so you're seeing imaginary people that don't want to talk to you, and you're hearing these imaginary people tell you to get off the phone. He says, pretty much. And then I said, then what happens? He said, then I feel like crap. He says, then I feel like crap and I don't want to pick up the phone. I said, well, of course you don't want to pick up the phone if that's the strategy that your brain is following for phone sales. I asked him another question. I said, what's an area of your life that you create outstanding results? I mean, you're struggling in your sales, but usually there's something that someone does really well. And he says, well, it's nothing in business. He says, I guess sports. I'm like, okay, sports. I go, well, what sport? He says, basketball. I said, so you create outstanding results in basketball? He says, yeah. He says, I'm like the Charles Barkley of the team. By the way, Charles Barkley used to play for the Houston Rockets. Great player. And he was known for being very aggressive. He would grab the rebounds. He would muscle people around on the basketball court. He would go up there and he would dunk the ball. And he compared himself a little bit to Charles Barkley. He said he was very tenacious. He would grab the rebounds. I said to him, what's your psychology around grabbing those rebounds? He says, it's my ball. I said, really? He says, yeah, it's my ball. I own it. He says, everybody just needs to get out of the way because they're going to get an elbow or something because I'm getting that loose ball. It's my ball. I said, fascinating. So I started to elicit his strategy that he had, the mental process in his brain about going for that ball. And I looked at the mental process in his brain about going for that sale. It's still a mental process, correct? It's still something we do in our brain, correct? And I saw that there is a very big contrast. And what I was able to do with him is I was able to tap into his brain strategy on how he got every single rebound and scored all those points in those games. And I was able to elicit his strategy on how he couldn't make sales calls. And I was able to take this strategy and map it across. What do you think happened? His sales skyrocketed. Why? Because he changed his whole philosophy around sales. In this program, Sales and Leadership Mastery 1, we're going to be going into this thing called strategies and many, many other things. Strategies are the internal processes in the brain that get us the result we have now. We're going to learn about that. We're going to learn how to use the correct strategy when we communicate as a leader to the people in our organization. How we communicate a correct strategy as a salesperson to the people that we're selling our products and services to. And we're going to learn that people have a buying strategy. People have a decision strategy. People have a motivation strategy, that internal process in the brain. And if we're able to find out what that is, we're able to speak directly to their strategy. By speaking directly to their strategy, we can create outstanding results. This is advanced stuff. And when you come to Sales and Leadership Mastery, you're going to learn this and so much more. And the goal is to create outstanding results, the results you truly deserve in your life. I look forward to seeing you there. Sales and Leadership Mastery. When you learn how to become a master of your sales and your leadership capabilities, you'll learn also how to become a master of your life. See you there.